Welcome to Ask WWN, episode number 23. This is your host, Michael Burgess. Wow, what an opening. First off, welcome to Ask WWN, episode number 23. We have great questions that need to be answered and addressed live here on Spreaker Web Radio. If you are listening to this, we are live, and of course, we have sent links all over the web to Twitter. WorldWrestlingNews.com has it all covered right there. And of course, we just want to tell you to tune in to an official statement coming up later in the day. It is October 12th, 2013 right now. Tune in later in the day because we have a special official statement that has to do with Ask WWN. Could there be a special coming up? That's what that's about. But let's go ahead and get answering some questions. How much control do wrestlers in WWE and TNA have over the direction of their respective gimmicks? Well, it really depends on the worker. The higher up is on the card, the more creative control they have. When you're Hulk Hogan in TNA wrestling, you can script a segment where the owner of the company is grabbing you by the leg, begging you to stay. When you are involved in a real-life contract dispute, well, if you're someone that just got the call up from developmental, you're going to be given a script, and it will be expected of you to follow that. Our next question: why do you think WWE and TNA have been bringing in the personal lives of wrestlers into storylines? Velvet Sky and with Chris Sabin, and now Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella, just to name a couple of examples. Well, I don't know the thinking behind Velvet Sky and Chris Sabin, but the reason WWE is acknowledging the real-life engagement of Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella is to cross-promote Total Divas, and that's the only reason. Our next question: any word on when Damien Sandow is supposed to cash in his Money in the Bank contract? Well, as is the norm with Money in the Bank and situation, there's always buzz on when Damien Sandow will cash in the briefcase. The fact that they're scripting him to tease the cash-in at live events, like what they did last weekend, has led some to believe it could be sooner than later. I can't give you a firm date, but I can tell you it's something that comes up rather frequently. One of my pet peeves about the Money in the Bank holders is the way they are booked prior to cashing in. Sandow has been constantly buried with the mentally, the mentality, rather, that will be a bigger surprise when he cashes in. I don't agree, and I am against the tear them down to build them up method, and that's what WWE has done with many previous Money in the Bank winners. It's what they did with Daniel Bryan once. It's what they did with Dolph Ziggler, and it's what they're doing with Damien Sandow. Our last question is, what's the latest on Sheamus' rehab, and do you see him turning heel when he returns? Well, Sheamus is doing well and is out of a sling as he continues his rehabilitation for a torn labrum that required surgery in August. He's still making regular appearances for WWE while he works to get back into the ring. You can view a photo, obviously, at WorldWrestlingNews.com. of that. I haven't heard anything regarding creative plans for him, as WWE is hopeful he'll be back either late this year or early next year. Well, that's about it for our questions for this week's edition of Ask WWN. If you have any questions, send them to us, please. We encourage it. Send them at AskWWN@WorldWrestlingNews.com via email. Also tweet us using our official hashtag AskWWN at WWrestlingNews on Twitter. Thank you for tuning in for this podcast. Remember to tune in next week with an all-new Ask WWN.